Guys, welcome to Big Sister. So first of all, just gonna let you guys know ahead of time, there is this bird outside. I don't know if you can hear. I don't know what kind of bird that is. Is that a pigeon? I don't think pigeons sound like that. Anywho, whatever. You're gonna be hearing that interjected for a bit. Normally I don't hear that bird this late in the day. It's normally like early in the morning. I don't know. Maybe they slept in. Had a late start. So today, guys, I want to talk about Kevin Samuels. The late Kevin Samuels, who died in 2022. You know, to some he was a pariah. To others, he was a hero. I want to give my opinion on Kevin Samuels. I did not really know about or listen to a lot of Kevin Samuels content, but I thought some things came up that brought this up, and before I did a video, I wanted to listen extensively to a lot of the things that Kevin Samuels spoke about. I heard him speaking to males, and I also heard him speaking to females. It seemed like he had mostly a female audience, but he had a large platform. He had, I want to say, millions. And then of course there's people who took the torch with Kevin Samuels and ran with it and came up with their own, made their own platforms and sort of made whatever he taught the standards for themselves. So I want to listen extensively to Kevin Samuels and hear what he was about, because you can't just go by Harrison. I don't think it's fair to watch one video. So I watched a lot of his stuff and before I did this video, and now I'm finally getting to it. So I did write a few things down. You may hear the page turn, but I want to stay on task. So here's my take. I'm going to give you the pros and the cons, because there are pros and cons about Kevin Samuel. My take is that, number one, Kevin Samuel uses a broad brush for most women, if not all. Okay? If we were to imagine if he had a color palette, it would probably be just brown, yellow, gray, black. Brown, yellow, gray, black. And maybe not even gray, because I think you can create gray with what? White and black, I think. So he would just be, but let's, for the sake of this video, go with this, right? He just has these basic colors, and this is all he's going to use. And he has one huge, big old paintbrush that he's going to use on every female canvas, okay? So he doesn't have the different sizes based on, he's just splash, splash. This is my opinion. I would say that Kevin Samuels, he does speak. He doesn't seem to deviate from what he believes. I don't think he's really open. I've never heard him say, okay, that's a different perspective. I've never considered that. He just already has it. This is how it is. He seems to speak for all. He appears as if he's speaking for all men, all black men. But the truth of the matter is, he's really speaking to a specific demographic, because not all men think the way Kevin Samuels does. And what he does in saying the average guy versus the high value guy is he creates this divide. Okay? Because there are men who they work hard, they do certain things. They may not have all the great money, but they do make money. Okay, they may not be an engineer, but he may be like a barber, a barber shop. He's probably, unless he just really opens a few branches, he's not making six figures. He may have a barber shop, or he may be an electrician or a maintenance person. He has an honest job. He's doing well. Takes care of his family, all that. I know someone like that. Married, takes care of his family, does well, has a house, and he is taking care of his wife and children. And you know what? To some, they will say he's not high value because he's a maintenance person versus a person who's making a lot of money. But to me, well, I don't want to deviate, but anywho, there is this mindset of what the high value man is and what they want. And so he's speaking for a specific demographic of people. Okay. So here are the pros with Kevin Samuel. He is a sharpshooter. He says things he's honest, he's direct. I appreciate that. And I don't know, it's because for me, I was raised with my parents. I have all brothers. My parents were direct. I'd like to know exactly what the person's position is versus a person that's being passive aggressive or not really stating what it is that they feel. That's a very frustrating experience. So I will say that I like that he's very straightforward and very open. I like that he's very articulate. He's well spoken. All right. I do like that. He makes great points, ladies. Even if you may not agree completely with everything that Kevin Samuel says, because I don't agree with everything that he does say, but he does make great points. He tells you things that your father would tell you, that your brothers would tell you. You know, a well-rounded, stable male would tell you or should tell you. And that is things that he would ask the ladies. Why have children? Why have children before marriage? He'll talk to them about that. Okay. If you can't marry the man, then why have his baby? Okay. He would tell the ladies, okay, you thought he was cute or whatever, but why did you give him your womb? Why not protect your womb? You want to have a good time, that's your choice, but you did not need to get pregnant by him. Okay, he abused you. Why would you then have 2 more children with him? You know, these are the things Kevin Samuel is going to tell us. He's going to say those things. And women, a lot of times there's going to be the excuse because this. But with men, we have to understand that they're very objective and they're looking at, why didn't you just make this choice? Why didn't you just do that? It's not that they are trying to be jerks, at least not all of them, but that's just how they see it. They're looking at solving it. Here's a problem. How do we solve it? Okay. He made very good points when he said, if you can't marry him, why have his baby? If you can't stand him, you can't say his name. Now you're stuck with him for the rest of your life because you have a child with him. He also said women with children are not chosen before single women. So he's saying, okay, sometimes women who with children, they have this entitled mindset and they're coming out and they're saying all these different things and trying to shame men into dating them or shaming men for not choosing them and saying, well, yes, I am the prize. Yes, I am the prize. I am this. I am that. I believe, right? And Kevin Samuel is simply saying, no. If you're standing there with your children, here's a single mother, a single female without children, a lot of times, most times, the man is going to choose the woman who is single because it's less stress, it's easier, she could up and go, she can do what she needs to do. Like, think about it. When you're single, let's talk about a single student versus a student who has a child, let's say a college student. That single college student could sleep in, could go study, could go hang out with friends, could go do this, go do that, get up, go shopping, make all types of plans, fly out somewhere for the weekend, no thought. The student who has a child has a lot more to do. They're putting them in the daycare, or they drop them off at the parents. They have to get the child, feed the baby, do all these things. They cannot just study and focus on what they want. If they are, they still have to arrange with somebody to help them, whether it is their parents or a grandparent or a daycare, a babysitter. You can't just up and go and leave and take off for however long you want to and do whatever you want to do. There are limits. Now, we do know and we have read about women that just get up and go on vacations and do what they need to do and leave their children with whoever and things can happen, there's always a risk. There's a lot more thinking involved. And those who can just go freely, regardless of having children, are normally a bit negligent. And a lot of times they leave the children at home with 2 rotten hot dogs and put everything on the bottom shelves and tells them, yeah, just go ahead, eat that, stay in the car while I go to the club. You know what I'm saying? Or take a vacation, as I've just read recently about a woman that went on a full vacation and left her toddler at home. Okay, I believe the toddler passed away. So you are limited, and a lot of times men do not want to deal with that limitations. They do not want your children in their car. They don't want their little footprints in their car. They don't want to deal with any of that. They want a stroller. They don't want to have to slow down. They don't want to have to wait for arrangements. They just want to go. And that is a right that they have. As a single mother myself, I am divorced. This is a fact. And this is what it is. I don't look at myself like, oh, I'm less than, I'm not worthy. But I do understand that there are men who simply will not. And I also understand, for me, my focus is not about dating or anything. It is about raising my children. I mean, one is already an adult, and I have others that are, they're not little anymore. And before you know it, they'll be out the door as well. I'm not rushing them out the door, guys, but the point that I'm making is the focus for single mothers will have to be their children. And so therefore, a lot of times when Kevin Samuel said that a man is not looking for, he's not looking for a single mom with children to raise. He's going to choose the woman who is single with no attachments. That's a fact, and that's true. Okay? And that's something that women have to really listen to and not argue with it. It is a fact. All right. The other thing that Kevin Samuel spoke about, he said, most men do not want to she does not want to fund another man's legacy. So even if a man, he's looking for someone he can have children with, and he can have a child with, and that continues his legacy. When there is another man's child there, I'm not saying anything's wrong with a child. It's not the child's fault. And no woman should resent her child or think the child is keeping her from having her best life or allow her child to be mistreated. But sometimes men looks at it that way. This is someone else's child. And so I'm going to come in, I'm funding, I'm taking care of, I'm stepping in for another man, or doing more than this guy. He may be present, but he is not making as much. And so he's putting in more money and funding someone else's legacy, someone else's child. And so sometimes the stepdad role, while it can be rewarding, you can easily be sidelined for the biological father. We hear stories about that all the time. The stepfather steps in. He's doing all these different things. He's taking care of the children, putting them through school, all this stuff. But you know what? He has no say in the house. He often hears, you're not my father, or this is not your child, or don't say that, don't talk to my child like that, or whatever the case may be. And then sometimes when it comes to prom, dance, graduation, things like that, weddings, they often want the fathers there, right? Because they want to look good in front of everybody. They don't want the stepdad. They want to look good in front of their in-laws, the future in-laws. So I want my real dad here, even if it's for this day. So sometimes they can get abused. And then not only that, sometimes the mother, okay, she's already had 2 or 3 children. She doesn't want any more children. So he has to now fund someone else's legacy, raise someone else's child, be sidelined, know his place, understand she doesn't want to have children, be satisfied with the fact that he technically, quote unquote, already has children, even though they're not his. Or, hold on one second. Hey guys, sorry about that. The power went out, so I'm no longer in darkness, but I wanted to hurry up and do this before, in case it goes out again, because I'm getting notifications that there are outages in certain parts here. So anyway, as I was saying, a lot of times the mother, with stepfathers, the women who already have children, they are less likely to they don't want to have any more children, because if that excitement is gone, right? They have already had children for another man. and they want the stepfather to raise those children, and they want him to come in and realize, well, these are your children. So sometimes they don't want to have any more, and he just has to swallow that and realize his lineage will not continue. And there have to be this whole mind game that's going to be played of, well, they are your children, they are yours, when they're really not. And sometimes if she does decide to have a child with him, he's limited. She probably will have one more, and a lot of times, sometimes she'll have that child just to keep him on the hook. But he is still having to, if she has three to one, obviously a lot of the funds are going to be going elsewhere versus to his one child where he may be saving more money. And we know when the families are blended, we don't want to play favorites and treat people differently. But these are the things that Kevin Samuels spoke about, that said, what will be some disqualifying, what are some of the disqualifiers, if you want to say, of why a man would not want to date a woman who has children, whether he is the high value, as they say, the high value man with all the money, or your average guy. Especially with the average guy, he's trying to save his money. The high dollar guy just doesn't want to bring along the crew. So I think for that reason, those reasons, I feel like he made excellent points. And I think it's something that as women, young girls coming up, definitely can take that advice and understand the value of your womb and your youth and your time. And you don't make frivolous mistakes in, oh, he's so cute, and how you feel right now, and thinking, oh, let's just hatch a baby together and it's going to be so great. No, because then when he walks away, you're left by yourself. A note that I want to add here too, there's something that Kevin Samuel often does not speak about. He talks about a single mother, single moms, being by yourself, low value, okay? But then I say, with a single mother, with every single mother, there is a single father. Women do not just autonomously create these children by themselves. So oftentimes they assume that the woman ran the guy off, why that can happen. Or the woman did something, but sometimes the guy just wasn't that great. Now, the women still have to take onus in who she chose. It's either was this blissful relationship, world relationship where there's a lot of passion, no discretion, no responsibility, no one was using protection, and it was just so awesome. You ignored all the warning signs, ignored what your parents were telling you. You just wanted this guy. You knew he was a bad guy. You knew there were the ways that he had before, and you turn around and have a baby, because a lot of times, let's be honest, sometimes as women, we will believe baby is the key. But all it does, it locks you in, not him. But at the same time, there are some guys that simply changed. The women really believed that he was going to be who he said he was going to be, but he had no moral character. She did not see these things. There are some people that can pretend and have facade management for quite some time. And then there are scenarios where, hey, it happens. He leaves, there's a single mom around, right? Sometimes divorce occurs. They grew apart, whatever it may be, the person dies. But I will always say, when anybody's saying you're a single mom or this, that, and the other, for every single mother, there is also a single father that's probably your buddy. There's probably single fathers who are good friends with Kevin Samuels, and that simply means not that they were raising their kids, but they got somebody pregnant and they're not in the household, and vice versa. You think about it, there's someone that has a woman that they had a child with, whether through marriage or not, whatever the case may be, or a guy who has multiple children, and this guy sits up in your house and you're talking to him, you hanging out with him, and what is that saying? Birds of a feather flock together. So if you are in fact high value, you say, no, hey guy, get your life together, whatever. I have a reputation. I have this and that. You need to take care of that. You need to do what you need to do, but we can't hang together because I'm taking a different path, but you're not going to do that. A lot of guys do not do that. They don't think that way. It's just easier to blame the mother. And then also, there are things that people may do at certain points in their lives that make bad decisions, but you know, this guy's your friend. He made some poor choices or whatever, and he may have to deal with the consequences, but overall, as a person, he's not a horrible human being. But see, a lot of these considerations are given to the guy, but the woman, she's always, for the most part, going to be demonized, and she's going to wear that scarlet letter. So I think these are some of the imbalances. These are some of the things that Kevin Samuels says that they were true, but I also feel that he did not keep it very balanced, in my opinion. Weight. Let's see. I think that his standards for weight was not realistic at all. It was not. And it cannot be determined that this is what all men want. We want this type of woman. We want this height, this build. No. Kevin Samuels may speak for a specific demographic. Now, when he's speaking about high value men, if he's talking about men with money and status and who's in the upper echelons of life, yes, a lot of that, especially in that lifestyle, is image based. It's about everything is visual. Visual. Your house, your car, your clothing, the brands, who's on your arm. All of that does matter. Even if that high value guy is just has a girl for the day, he's going to pick out the best. He wants someone that's beautiful. He wants her to look a certain way because all of this feeds into his ego and his reputation. It feeds into the image he wants to present to himself and to his colleagues. And so it does matter. So ladies, sometimes if you're saying, hey, I want to date this 6-figure man, I want to be with this individual, you have to also make sure you are prepared for it. Because when you're with him, sometimes you may be thinking about just you and him, but a man like that is not just sitting around not doing anything. He's working. He's going to be in many different social circles. You have to be prepared to be in such circles. You have to be able to wear what is in season. You're going to have to be able to have talks with the other women, the other females. You're going to need to be able to be as well versed. You need to know things about art. You need to know things about the world and politics. Their conversations are going to be very, very different. So if you're there with your basics and you want this high value guy and all these different things, and you get around these people, you're going to feel very uncomfortable because you're going to realize the food, the taste. You may be used to having big plates of food, eating a lot. You go to these places where you're just eating this 10 little thing sprayed in 14 karat gold with a little sauce on the side. That was $1,000, and you have to sip your wine slowly, and you have to know exactly how to sip it, and you shouldn't have lipstick print on all sides. You need to sip from the same side. Make sure your lips fit exactly where you sipped the last time, and slowly. There's a lot. You need to be able to entertain his guests. You need to understand what is fitting for that occasion, what colors, what decorations needs to be changed in your home for the time, the season. It's a lot. So yeah, let's go with that. So when it comes to weight, these men are going to want you to look a certain way. Some cases, they want you to be a certain color. Okay? You are not going in the higher circles of people who are, we're talking about the cream of the crop, if you want to call it that. You're not going there with your baby hair wigs. No, that's not going to happen. You have to understand there are people who are like novices and they're rich, but you could tell they're rich because they have like labels from top to bottom. They look like a sign. They're like a banner for Gucci. You can tell people who are, what do you call them? Is it Novo rich or whatever? They're new to it. They squander it. They wear things. They wear skiing outfits and ski jackets and boots and stuff, just walking around. And rich people are laughing. They're laughing that you're wearing polo boots and a polo jacket, just walking around in the city when they actually wear these things and actually ride horses. You understand? So there's a lot to it. So for these men, the way you look is going to be very, very important. They do expect you to be a certain height and weight. I always felt that Kevin Samuels' standards was not realistic. I can tell you, having served, been, and retired from the military, that being 5'3", which I am, my maximum weight. Okay, so in the military, there's a minimum. You can be a minimum weight and a maximum. You cannot be a minimum. You cannot be below the minimum weight for your height. Okay, they will consider that to be unhealthy. And you can't be above your maximum. Okay, so for me being 5'3", my maximum was 145 pounds at 5'3". So imagine what it would be for 5'4" or 5'5", and so on and so forth. Okay, and the height and weight standards were put together for the military. Okay, they want a healthy military. They want a fit military. They want you to be alive. They need you to be able to be technically and tactically proficient. All of that, your weight, all that stuff, your health, your overall health is what's going to allow you to be able to do these things. And this is being put together by nutritionists and physicians and all these things. All these people are looking at it, okay? And it's approved at the highest levels on, all the way down to Surgeon General. All these people are looking at all the stuff coming all the way down, all right? And then they're going to decide, yes, this is appropriate based on studies. Okay, so when Kevin Samuels telling someone who is 5'5" that she should be like 130 pounds or less, no, sir, that's not realistic at all. Now, I will say that he is correct that a lot of them were, in fact, overweight. They were overweight. Okay? A lot of these women were overweight. They're like 5'5" or 5'3" and 170, 180 pounds. So I feel that a lot of his things, instead of saying you are built, you weigh more than a man, I think his conversation will be more about health, the health risk. Heart disease, strokes, diabetes, these things. And how are you looking for a high value man? What quality of life would you have if you end up becoming sick? If now, instead of him being able to travel with you, he's going to medical appointments with you all the time, or giving you this long-term care and stuff, or you can't really do the things. You can't go hiking, you can't go walking because you have to rest every few minutes. So I think he should have been more, I wish he would have spoken more about those risk factors versus how it sounded as if he would get that brush out and say, you weigh more than a man. You know, that's where I felt like he would try to stick it to the ladies. And I don't know where he's getting it from. I know that he was a fashion consultant or something that he said, but his standard, I'm wondering, where is he getting it from? By what demographic is he using? Because I'm telling you, for the military, his height and weight standards were completely off. Now, so there are some things that are good, okay, about Kevin Samuels, and I think it could be very beneficial to all women. Okay, now I'm going to stop here and I'm going to continue. I'm going to make this into 2 parts because I have another part that I need to attach here, and that's already kind of long. So please stay tuned for part 2.